Hello, beautiful soul. I have a weird word this morning. One of my sisters in Christ asked me to pray for her and see if God would give her a word about a situation without telling me what the situation is. Now, we do this a couple times a year, probably, where there's just something that's on our hearts that we don't want to share, but we want to see what the Lord might say about it. So we will intercede for each other without even knowing the subject. So what I got today was I was in my regularly scheduled Bible reading in Judges with the story of Samson and Delilah. I don't know how this impacts her or what she might be praying about, because it doesn't seem, knowing what I know about her, it doesn't seem like it would fit. But this is what I got. So in the story of Samson, he ends up hooking up with Delilah, but before that, he was supposed to be set apart from birth. God had a calling on his life. He gave him supernatural strength to do certain things. And in order to do this, he had come to the parents and said, this boy is to be set apart. He's not to drink alcohol. He can't have anything that's unclean. A Nazirite vow was that you can't touch dead bodies. And of course, the Lord had already warned them about intermarrying with the Philistine women who were ruling over them and were incredibly oppressive at that time. So Samson does none of this. He wants to marry a Philistine. He gets drunk. He lies. He eats honey out of a dead lion's body, which of course was unclean. So everything that he was told to do, to set apart, to do this job that God had sent him to do, he didn't follow it. Ultimately, he's sleeping with prostitutes. He's the first marriage didn't work out. That woman gets killed, and then he's hooking up with this woman named Delilah. And so he's lying to her. She's trying to betray him. But because of all of Samson's disobedience, his dreadlocks end up getting shaved off, and he ends up in jail. So it is actually in the jail that he takes out thousands of the Philistines and all of their leaders, all the lords and the kings and the princes of the time. But he did it with his eyes gouged out and in jail, and it resulted in his death as well as everybody else's. So God still used Samson to deliver the Israelites from the Philistines, but it was like the hard way. And throughout the story in Judges, it says Samson did what was right in his own eyes, and then he lost his eyes. The last message I gave was about Proverbs 3:5-6, about leaning not on our own understanding, but following the Lord and letting him direct our paths. And so what struck me today was that we are kind of given two paths. And truly, when we are called to work for the Lord, he already takes into account our stupidity. Like, he made us and he knows our failings, he knows our hearts. So he can use us no matter what we choose. If we choose to follow him or we choose to sin, he can still use us, but it's probably going to be a lot easier for us if we just do what he says. Our sin does not thwart God's plan or calling on his life, but it can make our lives incredibly more difficult, and the way that we get used might be changed. Sin brings serious consequences and pain, so it's better to do him. If he says you are set aside, you can't be fornicating, you can't be smoking, you can't be sleeping with prostitutes, whatever it is that God has told you, do it. Just do it. It's going to make it so much easier for you. And then I continued to pray after I did my reading, and I got Ezra 10, verses 1-11, but the one part really struck me. In Ezra 1:11, it says, separate yourselves from the peoples. And so this idea of being set apart again struck me. So I feel like this is a call for purity. God will use you regardless, but you don't want to do it the hard way. Let's do it the easy way and do what is right before God instead of doing what is right in our own eyes. We can come up with a million reasons to justify what we're doing, but ultimately, are we living like Jesus? Are we loving like Jesus? And how are our actions showing others the love of Christ? If this message was for you, can you comment below? Because this was a weird message for me to get this morning. I'm going to check in with my friend. I'll send her this and see if this was anything like what she was praying about. So, like I said, it's happened where we get these really crazy words, and it is actually exactly what is needed. But if it's for you, please comment below. Please like, subscribe, and until next time, keep blooming.